Your career isn't a good fit, and that's why you're feeling dissatisfied at work. That's what I'm going to be talking about in this video today. But before I get into that, I just want to introduce myself. My name's Anna. I'm a career counselor and the creator of Define Your Future Career Change System. And I help mid-career professionals get out of jobs that are making them miserable and into careers that light them up. Make sure you hit subscribe so that you always hear about my latest video. So if your career isn't a good fit for you, you may be experiencing some of the following. You might struggle to get out of bed in the morning because you don't want to go to work. You might feel like your job feels pointless, like you're wasting your precious time. Or perhaps you feel like a square peg in a round hole at work. It may be that your career is affecting your health or your relationships, or that you fear that down the track, when you look back on what you've done in your career, you're going to regret not doing something different. Does any of that sound like you? If so, I want to share, firstly, that you're not alone. I talk to new people every week who feel all of these things. And I also want to share with you the 4 aspects of career that can make you feel this sense of dissatisfaction. These 4 components make up what I call my Clover model. And you can think about the Clover model also as essentially your blueprint for career satisfaction. There are 4 different aspects of your career. And if you can align your work with your preferences in these 4 different areas, then you can pretty much guarantee that you'll be satisfied and fulfilled in your career. So the big question is, what are these 4 different aspects? Well, firstly, the first one is tasks. What do you enjoy doing? Now, everyone's different. We all enjoy different tasks and doing different things. So you can think of this in terms of, what is it that you're physically doing day to day? What does a day look like? Do you enjoy analyzing data or writing reports or talking to people, negotiating, managing people? It might be teaching or mentoring people or taking care of people or animals. There's lots of different things that we can do, lots of different tasks that we might enjoy. That's the first component, to think about what are the day-to-day tasks, activities that you do that you enjoy. The second aspect of the Clover model, these 4 different components for career satisfaction, is the environment. What environment do you feel best in? Do you do your best work in? Physically, where do you want to work? Do you want to work in an office or from home? Do you want to be traveling around? How do you want to work? When do you want to work? What hours? All of these different things make up the environment, and also the culture, the type of people that you work with. Think about all these different environmental factors that impact how you feel while you do your work and what brings out the best in you. So that second component is environment. The third leaf on the 4-leaf clover is field. Now, what the field means is what you're interested in, your field of interest. So what you can think about here is, what do you enjoy reading about? What do you enjoy talking about? Is there a subject that you can get onto that you just want to talk all day? If you walk into a bookshop, which books are you drawn to first? These are all clues to the field of interest that might make sense for you to be focusing on in your career. The 4th area, so the 4th leaf of the 4-leaf clover, is motivation. Now, what motivation means is, what do you want to get out of your work? What drives you? What do you want to achieve through your work? And this can be many different things. For some people, it can be job security. It could be affiliation. So, having meaningful relationships with other people at work, having that social side, satisfied. For other people, it can be meaning. For many of my clients, meaning is really important to them. They want to feel like they're doing something worthwhile, valuable, that's having a positive impact on the world. So motivation, what do you want to get out of your work? So these are the 4 different aspects of career satisfaction. So if you feel like your work isn't a fit, you're feeling dissatisfied in your career, I can guarantee that one of these 4 aspects, at least one of these, maybe more, is not aligned with your preferences. So, for example, if you really enjoy talking to people, but your job is to spend 8 hours a day analyzing data and playing with spreadsheets, then you're not going to be satisfied. You're not getting that connection. You're not doing the type of work that you most enjoy. If you work in the finance industry, but you have no interest in it, and you really love education, then you're probably not going to be satisfied if you're not working in an area that you have a genuine interest in. Okay. So there are 4 different areas. And in an ideal world, what we would do is tick the boxes and match our preferences in all 4 of these different areas to the work that we do. And you can start to do this for yourself. Have a think through these different areas. What is a match for you at the moment? What isn't a match for you? What could you do about that? Okay. So understanding your preferences in these 4 different areas is completely fundamental to your career satisfaction. You need to understand what your preferences are and then translate that into the real world of what are the different career options, whether it be a job or self-employment or whatever style of work you might consider. If you can translate that and then tick the boxes and match your blueprint for career satisfaction, then you can pretty much guarantee you're going to be happy and fulfilled. So I've worked with, over 250 clients now and guided them through this process and really dug deep and used the different tools that I have access to make sure that we're absolutely really nailing their preferences in these different areas and building up this really accurate picture. And then to translate that into the different types of roles that they might be interested in, and then evaluate them and go from there. Once they understand what their options are and all the different and all the information they need to know about the different options, they can confidently make a decision about what's the best path for them. One of the examples that I'd love to share with you is my client, Paula. Now, when I first met Paula, she was working as an operations manager in a local air conditioning business. And there was nothing really wrong about the job. And she described this to me when I first connected with her. She said, there's nothing wrong with it, but there's nothing really right with it. There was nothing she could put her finger on to say, look, this is a bad job. And it wasn't. There was nothing wrong with the job. It just wasn't a match for her. It wasn't ticking her specific, unique boxes that made up her blueprint for career satisfaction. So when I worked with her, we, as I said, looked really deeply into these 4 different areas to understand, well, what are the keys for her? Like, what does she enjoy? What's she interested in? What's going to give her the satisfaction that she's looking for? And we came up with 3 different things, 3 critical components to her career satisfaction. And they were connection. So she's very sociable. She's an extrovert. She needs and wants to connect with people. The second one was flexibility and travel. So she wanted to work flexibly. So she had the ability to travel because she was originally from Uruguay, and she wanted to be able to travel to see her family at least once a year and have that freedom in her work. And she also identified that she had this deep interest in real estate, in property investing. And it's something that she'd been curious about, she'd been dabbling in, but she'd never worked in that field. But it was clear that was the interest that really had captured her attention. So once we understood that, we explored all the different possible options for her. And she actually had already identified a company called Wealthy that she was interested in. And knowing what her core requirements were, the boxes that she was trying to tick, she then had the confidence to approach this company and say, look, this is what I really want to do. I would love to learn more about you. And if possible, I would love to work for Wealthy. After just a couple of conversations and a short interview, she was offered a job. And they even offered to sponsor all her study. So her real estate license, she got through them. And she started working with them just within a few weeks. Now, she absolutely loved that job. It ticked all the boxes. She was building a community for this business, even a Latin community with, I guess her own people or people from her own cultural background, which gave her this huge sense of connection and social, I guess, satisfaction in that area. It's a job where she can work online most of the time. So it gave her that flexibility. And of course, it was in the real estate and property investment space, which she was already so interested in. So it literally ticked all the boxes. And they were so enthusiastic and so compelled by the fact that she'd reached out and was, so clear on what she wanted, that they offered her this job. And then within, I think, 12 or 18 months already, she'd been promoted, and she's now sales marketing manager for Wealthy. She's the most wonderful example of the opportunities that can open up once you get clear on those fundamental components that are important to you, what's going to lead to satisfaction for you. I hope you found this inspiring and insightful. In my next video, I'm going to be talking in more detail about the process that I take my clients through, people like Paola, and each step of that process. So I'll also be sharing more about my blueprint for career satisfaction and some of the other tools that I use along the way. So make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss that next video and the ones that come after that. And if you're curious to know how well your career really suits you, like how good a fit is it, should you even be looking for a career change right now, then take a look at my career match quiz. It gives you a rating of exactly how well your career fits. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing you next time.